All right, so we just arrived on a quote where they're having erosion on a creek bank. So let's get over here and have a look at it. All right, sorry about the wind, folks. Yep, that's definitely eroding. All right, unlike most people, my foot actually is 1 foot long. So let's pace this off. All right, so this is about 45 feet long. We've got some wires in here and drainage pipe coming off the gutters. We're not going to have to worry about this pipe. So we've got plenty of fall here. So what I'm going to propose that the customer do is we'll notch in back here about 3 feet, and then we'll just go with the flow of the creek here. We won't deviate or anything. We'll put a 3/4 inch stone down. Actually, let me back up. What I'll do while we're working is we'll go ahead and put our first row of concrete blocks, and I'll show you which blocks I'm talking about. Here's a good reference of exactly what we will end up doing. We're gonna build a wall just like this one. These are concrete blocks. They're about 2 by 4 feet, I think, with a lift eye on there for us to put a strap in. So that's good. I can show you guys exactly what I'm going to be doing. Let's hop back down here and I'll go over what I'm kind of thinking about how we're going to do this. What I will do is we'll go ahead and bring our block in and we'll just set it down into the creek and line them up, and that way that water is diverted on the other side of the blocks, and then we can excavate this out in a fairly dry fashion. We'll notch into the bank here with our blocks. We'll be able to pull those wires back. I'll have to figure out what I want to do with this drainage pipe, whether I dig it out and run it closer to the top of the ground or run it behind that wall. Either or, we don't have to worry about cutting. And once we get our block in, I'm thinking we could probably get by with doing 1 row, slope the bank, line it with riprap, or go 2 block high. So we've got options here. I like doing options because you can tell the customer, okay, I can fix it this way for this much, or I can fix it this way for this much. And that way they don't feel like, you know, they're locked into one option. They can do multiple things with you, and they're less likely to shop around. So this one won't be bad. This will be pretty easy. Let's go put pen to paper and figure up some pricing. All right, so Carolina Ready Mix, our concrete provider, they are right on our way back to the house. So we're just gonna pull in there and see if they've got a price sheet. Maybe they've got several different types of block, and get our information there, and that way we can sit down and figure out how many blocks we need for a certain dimension, and you know, different prices and options, like I said, for this customer, hopefully improving our chances of winning a bid. All right, guys, so we got our numbers. The waste blocks that we're going to use is what they're called. A waste block, essentially any concrete that's left over in the concrete truck, they bring back, they pour it into a mold in the shape of a block, and that's what they use old waste concrete for. They work really well. They're heavy. The ones we're looking at using are 6 feet long, 2 feet deep, 2 feet high, they each weigh anywhere from 3,500 to 4,000 pounds. So it would really take something to move these things. So we had about 45 linear feet of bank that we've got to reinforce. Okay, that figures up to 7.5 blocks. We round up to 8 for the bottom tier, and then, you know, we're probably gonna go with 7 for the top, because you overlap them to get them to lock together. But I figured for 16 blocks, just in case. Okay, so 16 blocks at $40 a piece is $640. Okay, now I figured up my time. I figured my mileage between, you know, the yard and the job. So I figured my time hauling to the job, getting back. And then I figured up, since these blocks are 4,000 pounds, I can haul essentially 5 at a time without really pushing the trucks, you know, pulling capacity. So I figured up for about 3 trips, you know, going back and forth to the concrete supply to get our blocks. And then I figured time for hauling 2 loads of 3/4 stone. I'm gonna put the 3/4 down after we excavate out. We're gonna put the 3/4 down as a base. We're gonna grade it level, and we can set our blocks on top of that, you know, gravel footer essentially. I'm figuring worst case scenario, this job's gonna take me about 3 days. In this particular case, I'm figuring $1,250 per day. So that comes to $3,750. That includes all hauling, you know, my labor, machinery, you know, the excavator, everything, as far as that goes. So $3,750 for that. And then 2 loads of gravel, I'm gonna charge them $600. So pretty easy cut and dry job. You know, we're gonna build the first tier, build the next one on top of that. We're gonna backfill with gravel. Those, that one drainage pipe that came out of that downspout, you know, I've got enough money in here where I can afford to get, you know, I've got some extra pipe that we had left over from that last job. Actually, I just now thought of that. So I can get some of that perforated pipe and tee in to that drainage pipe, and then we're gonna backfill the wall with nothing but 3/4. That way water can leach in and not put pressure on that wall. It'll be able to get in the pipe and drain out just like the last job. So we've already got that material. I'm gonna quote this job at $4,990. Super easy job to quote. You know, you guys just got to make sure that you account for your time and your expenses. You know, make yourself a list, one thing after another. Now, be realistic when you're first starting out. You know, and anybody watching this video, you know, you are probably watching it because you don't know how to bid this stuff. Don't scare yourself with what seems like a high bid. You know, get all your materials together and just charge the material cost. Don't upcharge it. You know, don't say, well, I've got $100 of gravel, I'm gonna charge them $110. You know, just add your costs and charge that exact amount to your customer. Figure up your time, your mileages. You know, eventually you're going to get to where you have a good day rate for you and certain equipment or a certain amount of help. And, you know, start a list. All right, now add this up. You know, to look at that job and it looks simple, you know, $5,000 to some people may seem high. To some customers it may seem high, but to some customers it's going to seem like a really good deal. It just depends on what they're familiar with. So don't scare yourself into seeing that number and then being like, man, that seems high, I should drop it, because then you're going to get into that job and all these numbers are going to start making sense. You're going to think, oh no, I messed up. So make your list and price each section individually, and no matter what, when you add that number up, that's your bid. That's the bid that you came up with, that you're comfortable doing the job at. Write all this out, itemize it so the customer knows what they're getting, and then submit it to them. You know, now the one place that we have in this bid here essentially is each one of those blocks is 2 feet high. You know, that creek doesn't look like it goes over that very often. So one thing we could do and mention to the customer is, you know, if this bid is a little too high for you, what we can do is go 1 tier high, which means we're only going to do 1 row of blocks, and then we're going to grade the bank at a slope that won't erode, and that we can either line with mulch, or what I would prefer to do is riprap. You know, you've got one of these blocks that weighs 2 tons at $40. That's essentially $20 a ton, almost exactly the same as riprap. But a ton of riprap will cover more surface area than one of these blocks, you know, less dense. So we could give them the option, you know, we can only do 1 tier and knock $320, you know, of expense off of the block, and then give them the option of taking care of either planting grass on that bank or leaving it the same and just going 2 high. I'm going to encourage them to go 2 tiers high. That way, if we have a 100-year flood, 200-year flood, you know, we're, you know, just the bottom falls out, and that water for some reason does go really high. Excuse me, still sick. Goes really high, then you're covered. You don't have that concern of what if. Okay, so these are just some things to keep in mind. That's how you bid a basic waste block concrete retaining wall. Hopefully this helps somebody. And I'm going to be doing some different types of retaining wall bidding type stuff. So if y'all are interested in learning more about bidding and how I do it, you know, some may agree with my methods, some may disagree, but they work. So if you like them, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.